How to Master Any Conversation, a motivational self-help audiobook by Astrian. Imagine walking into a room full of strangers and feeling not a single knot in your stomach. Instead, you feel a quiet buzz of excitement, a sense of curiosity about the stories waiting to be discovered. This book is not about turning you into a smooth talker or a joke-telling machine. It is about something far more valuable than that, becoming a person who makes others feel seen, heard, and valued. You already possess the most important tool for this journey, which is your genuine interest in other human beings. The problem is that fear and overthinking have buried that natural curiosity under layers of doubt. We are going to peel those layers back together, one simple step at a time. By the time you finish this book, you will realize that mastering conversation was never about saying the right thing, but about being the right kind of presence. Most people believe that great conversationalists are born with a special gift that the rest of us lack. This belief is a lie that has stopped countless incredible people from connecting with the world around them. The truth is that conversation is a craft, much like playing a guitar or learning to cook a great meal. You do not need to be born with it. You simply need to learn the chords and practice the recipes. This book will give you those chords and those recipes in the most simple and encouraging way possible. There will be no complicated theories or hard English words that make your brain feel tired. Instead, you will find stories, simple ideas, and small challenges that feel like games. Your journey to becoming a master of connection starts right here, and I promise you it will be more fun than you ever imagined. Chapter 1: The Myth of the Natural. Think about the person you believe is a natural at conversation, the one who glides through parties with ease. Now consider this carefully. That person was not born knowing how to make small talk with a stranger. They learned it, just like you learn to walk, through a series of small, sometimes wobbly steps. The only difference is that they started taking those steps earlier, or they simply cared less about falling. We call people naturals to give ourselves an excuse to stay safe and silent in the corner. But staying safe means staying small, and staying small means missing out on incredible connections. You are here because you are ready to stop making excuses and start making moments. The moment you accept that conversation is a skill, you take all the pressure off yourself to be perfect. Let us break down what a skill actually means in the context of talking to another human being. A skill is simply a set of small actions that you repeat until they feel like second nature to you. When you first learned to drive a car, you had to think about every single movement you made. Now, you probably drive while singing along to music without even realizing your hands are moving. Conversation works exactly the same way, with small habits becoming automatic over time. You do not need to memorize scripts or become a different version of yourself to master it. You simply need to practice a few key habits until they feel as natural as breathing. This chapter will introduce you to those habits in a way that feels exciting, not overwhelming. You are not rebuilding yourself. You are simply adding a few new tools to your existing personality. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a map that shows you exactly where to step next in any conversation. That map exists, and it is far simpler than you think it is. The first landmark on this map is understanding that every person you meet is just as nervous as you are. They might hide it better, but deep down, they want the same thing you want: connection without judgment. When you realize this truth, the power dynamic in your mind completely shifts in your favor. You are no longer the nervous one seeking approval from the confident one. You become two human beings standing on equal ground, both hopping for a pleasant interaction. This shift in perspective alone can change everything about how you approach a conversation. Now let us talk about practice, because a skill without practice is just a good idea sitting on a shelf. You do not need to throw yourself into a crowded party to start practicing your new skills. You can begin with the smallest interactions that already happen in your daily life. Say something kind to the person making your coffee, and notice how they respond to your energy. Ask the person in the elevator a simple question about their day and see where it goes. Each of these tiny moments is a practice session where you can experiment without pressure. The stakes are low, but the lessons you learn will be incredibly valuable for bigger moments. You are essentially building a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows stronger with consistent, gentle use. There is a beautiful freedom that comes when you stop labeling yourself as a shy person or a quiet person. Those labels become cages that keep you from trying new behaviors that feel unfamiliar. You might feel shy in some situations, but that does not mean shyness is your permanent identity. You might feel quiet in group settings, but that does not mean you cannot be the life of a one-on-one conversation. Give yourself permission to be flexible and to surprise yourself with what you are capable of doing. The person you were yesterday does not have to be the person you are today in this moment. Every new conversation is a fresh opportunity to show up differently than you did before. This is not about being fake. It is about growing into the version of yourself that has always been waiting to emerge. Let us end this chapter with a challenge that will set the tone for your entire journey. Your challenge is to find one small conversation today that you would normally avoid and simply enter it. It does not have to be long, deep, or even memorable to anyone but you. The goal is simply to take action and to prove to yourself that you are capable of more. When you do this, notice what happens in your body before, during, and after the interaction. You will likely feel a surge of energy afterward, a little spark of pride that you stepped forward. That spark is the feeling of growth, and it is one of the most addictive feelings in the world. Chase that feeling and let it remind you that you are not a natural or a non-natural. You are simply a human being choosing to grow, and that is the most natural thing in the world. Chapter 2. Your mouth is a mirror. Before you ever speak a single word, your body is already delivering a powerful message to everyone around you. Your posture, your facial expression, and even the way you hold your hands are speaking loudly. The wonderful news is that you can learn to make this silent language work for you, not against you. Think of your body as a mirror that reflects what is happening inside your mind and heart. When you feel closed off, your arms cross and your shoulders curl forward to protect yourself. When you feel open and curious, your body naturally expands and faces the person you are engaging with. The people you meet are reading this mirror constantly, often without even realizing they are doing it. By becoming aware of your own mirror, you gain the power to send the message you truly want to send. Let us start with the most powerful tool you have, which is your smile, and it is far more important than you realize. A genuine smile does not just make you look friendly, it actually changes your own internal state for the better. When you smile, your brain releases small chemicals that help you feel calmer and more at ease. This means your smile helps you relax while simultaneously helping the other person feel safe with you. You do not need to walk around with a huge grin like you are in a toothpaste advertisement. A small, soft, genuine smile that reaches your eyes is enough to transform an entire interaction. Practice noticing when your face is resting in a neutral or serious position throughout your day. Simply softening your expression can make you appear more approachable without you saying a single word. Your eyes are the second piece of this silent language, and they carry an incredible amount of meaning in conversation. Making eye contact does not mean staring intensely at someone until they feel uncomfortable and look away. It means offering your attention generously, like a gift, and then looking away naturally when it feels right. A good rhythm to follow is to hold eye contact for about 3 to 5 seconds before glancing away briefly. This pattern shows that you are engaged without being aggressive or overwhelming to the other person. When you look away, look to the side rather than down, because looking down signals submission or disinterest. Your eyes should feel like they are dancing with the other person, not locked in a battle of wills. With practice, this dance becomes second nature and makes every conversation feel more connected. Now let us talk about your posture, because the way you hold your body tells people how you feel about yourself. Standing or sitting with your shoulders back and your chest slightly open signals confidence and readiness to connect. Slouching or turning your body away from someone signals that you would rather be somewhere else entirely. The beautiful thing is that you can use your posture to actually change how you feel in the moment. When you straighten your spine and lift your chin slightly, your brain receives signals that you are strong and capable. This is not about pretending to be someone you are not. It is about embodying the confidence you already possess. You can practice this right now as you read these words, noticing the difference it makes in your energy. Your body and mind are constantly communicating with each other, and you get to choose which direction the message flows. Your hands and arms deserve attention too, because they often betray nervousness more than any other part of your body. Crossing your arms creates a barrier that can make you seem defensive or closed off to the other person. Fidgeting with your hands, your hair, or objects around you can signal anxiety or distraction during a conversation. The simple solution is to let your hands rest comfortably at your sides or on a table in front of you. You can also use your hands to gesture naturally when you speak, which makes you appear more engaged and passionate. Gesturing actually helps you think more clearly and express your ideas with greater ease and confidence. The key is to let your hands move naturally rather than forcing them to be completely still and stiff. Your hands are part of your voice, so let them join the conversation in a relaxed and authentic way. Let us put all these pieces together with a simple awareness practice you can start using immediately. Pick one interaction today where you will focus solely on your silent language rather than your words. Notice how you are standing or sitting before the conversation even begins, and make one small adjustment. Soften your face into a gentle expression, and remind yourself to let your eyes meet the other person warmly. Allow your hands to rest naturally, and resist the urge to cross your arms or hide them in your pockets. Pay attention to how the other person responds to this open and relaxed version of you. You will likely notice that they become more open and relaxed in return, mirroring the energy you are giving. This is the beautiful truth about silent communication. When you change your mirror, the world reflects that change right back at you. Chapter 3: The First 5 Seconds. The first 5 seconds of any interaction are the most terrifying and the most important all at once. In those brief moments, the other person forms their first impression of you and decides how to respond. This sounds stressful until you realize that you have tremendous control over how those seconds unfold. The secret is to stop thinking about what you are going to say and start thinking about the energy you are bringing. Your goal in those first 5 seconds is simply to signal that you are safe, friendly, and open to connection. You do not need a clever line or a perfectly crafted sentence to achieve this goal. All you need is a warm expression, open body language, and a simple word to break the ice. The simpler you keep it, the more natural and confident you will appear to the other person. Let us talk about the classic fear of not knowing what to say when you first approach someone. This fear usually comes from believing that your opening line must be brilliant, witty, or deeply interesting. The truth is that the most effective openings are the simplest ones that require almost no mental effort. A genuine hello paired with a warm smile is often more powerful than any rehearsed line you could create. A simple observation about your shared environment works beautifully because it gives you both something to look at. You can comment on the music playing, the food being served, or the event you are both attending together. The key is to keep your observation light, positive, and open-ended so the other person can easily respond. You are not trying to impress anyone. You are simply opening a door and inviting them to walk through with you. Now let us address the voice inside your head that screams at you right before you approach someone. That voice usually says things like, "They look busy," or "They probably do not want to be bothered." This voice is your brain trying to protect you from rejection, but it is often completely wrong in its predictions. Most people are far more open to connection than we assume they are when we are feeling nervous. The trick is to acknowledge that voice, thank it for trying to help, and then take action anyway. You can even use a small internal phrase like, "Here we go," to push yourself past the moment of hesitation. The action itself only takes a few seconds, but the pride you feel afterward lasts much longer. Every time you push past that voice, You prove to yourself that you are braver than your fears would have you believe. Let us explore the idea of using your environment as a tool to make those first 5 seconds feel effortless. When you enter any space, take a moment to notice 3 things that you could comment on if needed. Notice the artwork on the walls, the interesting food being served, or even the weather outside the window. These observations become your safety net, giving you something to say that feels natural and unforced. You can also use something the other person is wearing or holding as a conversation starter if it feels appropriate. A book they are carrying, a pin on their bag, or a unique piece of jewelry can all spark a genuine question. The key is to be genuinely curious about these things rather than using them as a trick. People can sense when your interest is real, and they respond to that authenticity with warmth. One of the biggest mistakes people make in those first 5 seconds is overwhelming the other person with too much information. You might feel nervous and start talking rapidly, sharing your life story before they have even said hello. This happens because silence feels uncomfortable, so we fill it with words to avoid the awkwardness we fear. The remedy is to slow down dramatically, speak at half the speed you think you should, and take a breath. After you say your simple opening line, stop and give the other person space to respond to you. Let them share something about themselves before you offer more information about who you are. This creates a balanced rhythm where both people feel heard and respected from the very beginning. A conversation is a dance, and you want to let your partner take their first steps before you start spinning. Let us end this chapter with a mindset shift that will transform how you approach those first 5 seconds forever. Instead of thinking, "I hope they like me," try shifting your focus to, "I hope I can make them feel comfortable." This small change moves your attention away from your own anxiety and onto the other person's experience. You are no longer seeking approval. You are offering warmth, which is a much more powerful position to hold. When you focus on making the other person feel at ease, your nervousness naturally fades into the background. You become more present, more observant, and more genuinely curious about the person in front of you. This shift turns every approach from a test you might fail into a gift you can give. And the beautiful result is that when you make others feel comfortable, they almost always end up liking you in return. Chapter 4: The Magic Question. There is one question that holds more power than almost any other in the entire world of conversation. This question is not complicated, and it does not require any special training or intelligence to use effectively. The magic question is simply this: what has been the best part of your day so far? This question works because it invites the other person to share something positive and personal. It moves the conversation away from boring topics like work tasks or daily chores that drain energy. It gives the other person permission to talk about something that genuinely matters to them in that moment. And most importantly, it signals that you are interested in their joy, not just their basic information. This single question can transform a flat, tired conversation into one that feels alive and meaningful. Let us compare this magic question to the standard question most people ask when they meet someone new. "What do you do?" is the default question in our culture. And it often leads to conversations that feel like job interviews. People give their rehearsed answer about their job title, and then you both struggle to find the next thing to say. This question puts the focus on work, which for many people is not the most exciting part of their identity. The magic question, by contrast, puts the focus on what brings them joy, energy, and excitement in their life. You might learn that their best part of the day was a funny moment with their child or a beautiful walk they took. You learn about who they are as a person rather than what they do to earn money. This creates a foundation for connection that is far deeper and far more enjoyable for both people involved. Now let us talk about how to ask the magic question in a way that feels natural and unforced. You do not need to announce it like you are presenting a prize or performing a special trick. You can simply ask it after a brief greeting, letting it flow as naturally as any other question would. For example, after saying hello, you can say, "So tell me, what has been the highlight of your day?" The key is to ask with genuine curiosity in your voice and a warm expression on your face. If you ask like you are reading from a script, the question will lose some of its magical quality. But if you ask because you truly want to know, the other person will feel that sincerity immediately. Your genuine interest is what makes the question powerful, not the words themselves. Practice asking this question until it becomes a natural part of your conversation toolkit. One common fear people have about this question is that the other person might say their day has been terrible. This fear is understandable, but it actually presents a wonderful opportunity for deeper connection. If someone shares that their day has been difficult, you have been given a gift of vulnerability and trust. You can respond with genuine empathy, saying something like, "I am sorry to hear that. Do you want to talk about it?" This response shows that you are a safe person to share struggles with, which builds tremendous trust quickly. Not every conversation needs to be positive, and sometimes the deepest bonds form through shared acknowledgement of hard moments. The magic question opens the door to whatever is true for the other person in that moment. Whether the answer is joyful or challenging, you have created a space for honesty that most conversations never reach. Let us explore how you can expand on the magic question to keep the conversation flowing beautifully. Once they share their best part of the day, you can ask follow-up questions that show you are truly listening. You can ask what made that moment special, how it made them feel, or what led to that moment happening. Each follow-up question shows that you value what they shared and want to understand it more deeply. You are essentially telling them that their experience matters to you, which is a deeply affirming message. This is the opposite of the ping-pong style of conversation, where people just wait for their turn to talk. You are building a bridge between you, one genuine question at a time, and walking across it together. The magic question is just the beginning. Your curiosity is what carries the conversation forward into meaningful territory. Let us end this chapter with a challenge to practice the magic question in your daily interactions. Your challenge is to ask this question to at least 3 different people over the next few days. Notice how their face changes when you ask it compared to when people ask about work or the weather. Observe how the conversation unfolds differently, moving towards stories and feelings rather than facts and obligations. Pay attention to how you feel during these conversations, noticing if you feel more connected than usual. You will likely discover that people open up to you more quickly and share parts of themselves they normally keep hidden. This happens because you have signaled that you are interested in their inner world, not just their outer presentation. Keep asking the magic question, and watch how it transforms your conversations from exchanges of information into genuine moments of human connection. Chapter 5: The Art of the Pause. Most people believe that silence in a conversation is a problem that needs to be fixed immediately. They rush to fill every gap with words, afraid that a pause means they are boring or awkward. This chapter will teach you the opposite perspective. Silence is not your enemy but your greatest ally. When you learn to embrace the pause, you become a more powerful and memorable conversationalist instantly. A well-placed pause shows confidence because it signals that you are comfortable with yourself and the interaction. It gives the other person space to think, to feel, and to share more than they might have otherwise. The pause transforms you from someone who is performing into someone who is truly present. Let us explore how this simple act of waiting can revolutionize the way you connect with others. Let us begin with the science of why pauses feel uncomfortable to so many of us in conversation. Our brains are wired to seek connection and to avoid moments of uncertainty or potential rejection. When a pause happens, our ancient brain interprets it as a possible social danger that needs to be resolved. We feel a surge of anxiety, and our instinct is to say anything to make that feeling go away. The problem is that the words we blurt out in these moments are rarely our best or most thoughtful words. They are often filler words like or like, or random comments that do not add value. By learning to sit with the pause, you override this ancient instinct and show your brain that silence is safe. This takes practice, but each time you do it, you rewire your response to become calmer and more confident. Now let us talk about how the pause gives the other person a gift that most people never receive in conversation. Most conversations are a battle for airtime, with each person trying to squeeze in their thoughts between breaths. When you pause, you signal that you are not competing for space, but you are genuinely interested in what they have to say. This pause gives them permission to think more deeply about their response rather than rushing to fill the silence. They might share something more vulnerable, more honest, or more interesting than their first quick answer would have been. You become a person who listens to understand rather than a person who listens to reply. This quality is rare, and people will notice it about you without being able to explain exactly what you do differently. The pause becomes your secret signature, a mark of depth and presence that sets you apart. Let us explore the different types of pauses and when to use each one for maximum effect in conversation. The reflective pause happens after someone shares something meaningful, giving them space to sit in what they just said. This pause shows respect for their words and lets them add more if they feel moved to do so. The thinking pause happens when you are about to speak, allowing you to gather your thoughts before you share them. This pause makes you appear thoughtful and intentional, qualities that naturally command respect and attention. The transitional pause happens between topics, giving both people a moment to breathe before shifting to something new. Each type of pause serves a different purpose, but they all share the same foundation of confidence and presence. Learning to use them fluidly turns you into a conversational artist rather than a nervous participant. One of the most powerful ways to practice the pause is to slow down your speaking speed dramatically. Most nervous speakers talk quickly, rushing to get their words out before they lose their chance to speak. This rapid pace creates a feeling of anxiety in both the speaker and the listener, making the whole interaction feel frantic. Try speaking at about half the speed you think you should, and notice how the dynamic changes between you. Your words will carry more weight because you are giving them room to land in the other person's mind. You will appear more confident because confident people do not feel the need to rush through their thoughts. The pauses between your sentences will feel natural rather than awkward because you have set a slower rhythm. This simple adjustment can transform you from a nervous talker into a calm, compelling presence that people want to listen to. Let us end this chapter with a practice that will help you become comfortable with silence in a low-pressure way. Find a friend or family member and tell them you are practicing a new listening skill that involves occasional pauses. Ask them to share a story about something that happened recently and commit to not speaking for a full 10 seconds after they finish. Count the seconds in your mind and notice how your body wants to jump in and fill that space with words. Resist that urge and watch what happens when you let the silence sit between you. Most likely, the other person will add something new, something deeper, or something they had not planned to share. You will feel the connection between you deepen as the silence becomes a shared space rather than an empty void. This practice will show you that the pause is not a hole to be filled but a bridge to be walked across together. Chapter 6. Listening like a treasure hunter. Imagine for a moment that every person you meet is carrying a hidden treasure chest full of stories and experiences. Most people walk right past these treasure chests because they are too busy thinking about what they will say next. You are going to become different. You are going to become a treasure hunter in every conversation you enter. Your job is not to impress anyone with your stories or your wit or your wisdom. Your job is to listen so carefully that you find the gems hidden in the other person's words. When you find those gems, you will ask about them, and the other person will feel truly seen. This approach transforms conversation from a performance into an adventure, and you will love every moment of it. Let us learn the tools you need to become the kind of listener that people remember for years. Let us start with the most common barrier to real listening, which is the voice inside your head while someone else is speaking. While they are talking, your brain is busy preparing your response, evaluating their words and thinking about yourself. You might be thinking about what you will say next, or how their story relates to your own experience. You might be judging their words, worrying about how you appear, or planning how to end the conversation. All of this mental noise means you are only catching about half of what the other person is actually saying. The other person can sense that your attention is divided, and they feel less connected to you as a result. The first step to becoming a treasure hunter is to quiet this mental noise and offer your full presence. This is harder than it sounds, but it becomes easier with practice and intention. Now let us talk about the specific things you are hunting for when you listen like a treasure hunter. You are hunting for emotional words that reveal how someone truly felt about an experience they are describing. You are hunting for values, the things that matter deeply to them, like family, creativity, freedom, or adventure. You are hunting for moments of passion where their voice changes and their eyes light up with excitement. You are hunting for struggles they have overcome, because these often contain the most powerful stories. You are hunting for dreams they mention, even casually, about things they hope to do or become one day. Each of these treasures is a doorway to a deeper conversation if you choose to walk through it. Your job is simply to notice them, and then to ask a question that invites them to share more. Let us explore what you do when you find one of these treasures during a conversation with someone. When you hear something that feels significant, you pause and acknowledge it before moving anywhere else. You might say something like, "Wait, that part about your grandmother sounds really special. Tell me more about her." This shows that you were listening so carefully that you caught the most meaningful part of their story. You are essentially telling them that what matters to them matters to you, which is a deeply connecting message. After you acknowledge the treasure, you ask a follow-up question that invites them to explore it more deeply. You might ask how they felt, what happened next, or what that experience taught them about themselves. This simple pattern of noticing, acknowledging, and asking turns every conversation into a journey of discovery. One of the most rewarding aspects of listening like a treasure hunter is what it does for your own social confidence. When you are focused on finding treasures in the other person, you forget to be nervous about yourself. Your attention moves outward instead of inward, and your anxiety naturally fades into the background. You become more present, more curious, and more engaged than you ever were when trying to impress others. People will begin to describe you as a great conversationalist, even though you are doing less talking than before. This happens because being a great conversationalist is not about how well you speak, but about how well you listen. The person who makes others feel heard and valued will always be remembered as someone wonderful to talk to. Your treasure hunting approach gives you this gift while also giving you the joy of discovering amazing stories. Let us end this chapter with a challenge that will train your treasure hunting skills in a fun and practical way. For the next week, enter every conversation with the goal of finding at least one treasure in what the other person shares. It could be an emotion, a value, a passion, a struggle, or a dream that they mention even briefly. When you find it, make it your mission to ask one follow-up question that shows you noticed and care. Pay attention to how the other person's face changes when you ask this follow-up question. Notice how the conversation deepens and how the connection between you becomes stronger in that moment. Keep a mental log of the treasures you discover and notice how much more interesting conversations become. You will soon find that every person you meet is fascinating when you know where to look for their hidden gems. The world will open up to you in ways you never expected, all because you chose to become a treasure hunter. Chapter 7. The Flattery They'll Never Forget. There is a form of appreciation so powerful that people will remember it for years after you say it. This is not the empty flattery of telling someone they look nice or that you like their shirt. This is the art of noticing something specific, something personal, something that reveals you truly see them. Most people go through their days feeling invisible, with no one noticing the small efforts they make. When you notice those efforts and acknowledge them, you give a gift that costs you nothing but means everything. This chapter will teach you how to find these hidden details and how to share them authentically. You will learn to become a person who makes others feel truly seen, which is one of the most powerful gifts you can give. Let us explore how to master this art without ever sounding fake or insincere. Let us begin by understanding why this kind of noticing is so rare and so deeply valued by human beings. We live in a world where most interactions are transactional, brief, and focused on surface-level topics. People ask, "How are you?" without really wanting to know, and they give automatic compliments that feel empty. When someone takes the time to notice something unique about you, it feels like a miracle in a world of automation. It signals that this person was truly present with you, paying attention to details that others missed. This experience creates a feeling of being valued that goes far deeper than any generic compliment could reach. The person you noticed will associate you with that rare and wonderful feeling of being truly seen. This is why mastering this art gives you such a powerful advantage in building lasting connections. Now let us talk about the specific things you should be looking for when you want to offer this kind of noticing. Look for the small choices people make that reveal something about who they are as a person. Notice the way someone tells a story, the passion in their voice, or the careful way they listen to others. Notice the effort someone put into something, whether it is their outfit, their work, or their kindness to another person. Notice the unique perspective they bring to a topic, the way their mind works differently than others. Notice the quiet strength they show in a difficult moment or the gentle humor they bring to a tense situation. Each of these details is a doorway to offering a compliment that feels deeply personal and meaningful. The more you practice looking for these details, the more you will see them everywhere you go. Let us explore how to deliver this kind of noticing in a way that feels natural and genuine. The key is to be specific, to describe exactly what you noticed rather than offering a general statement of praise. Instead of saying, "You are so smart," you could say, "The way you connected those two ideas was really impressive to me." Instead of saying, "You are so nice," you could say, "I noticed how you made sure everyone felt included in that conversation." This specificity shows that your compliment is not automatic, but is based on real observation and attention. You deliver it with a warm tone and without expecting anything in return for your words. You do not linger on it or make it a big deal. You simply share your observation and then move on. The beauty is that the person will likely revisit your words later, cherishing them long after the conversation ends. One important skill to develop is noticing the efforts that people make that often go completely unseen by others. The person who quietly cleans up after an event without being asked deserves to have that noticed. The person who asks thoughtful questions and makes others feel comfortable deserves to have that noticed. The person who shows up consistently, who is reliable and kind in small ways, deserves to have that noticed. These invisible efforts are the foundation of healthy relationships and communities, yet they are rarely acknowledged. When you notice them, you validate something deep within the person who makes those efforts. You tell them that their contributions matter, that they are not invisible, that someone sees them. This kind of noticing has the power to change how someone sees themselves and their place in the world. You hold this power in your hands, and you can use it generously in every conversation. Let us end this chapter with a commitment to practice this art of noticing in your daily life. Set an intention to offer one genuine observation of this kind each day for the next month. It can be to a friend, a family member, a coworker, or even a stranger you encounter briefly. The only rule is that your observation must be specific and based on something you truly noticed and valued. Pay attention to how the person responds, the way their face changes, and the connection that forms between you. Notice how this practice changes you as well, making you more present and more appreciative of the people around you. You will likely find that the more you notice others, the more others begin to notice and appreciate you in return. This is not about keeping score, but about creating a culture of genuine recognition wherever you go. Your words have power, and when you use them to make others feel seen, you become a person that no one ever forgets. Chapter 8: Dodging the Awkward Bombs. No matter how skilled you become at conversation, awkward moments will still find you from time to time. You will say something that comes out wrong, or you will forget a name you should remember. You will accidentally interrupt someone, or you will realize you have been talking about yourself for too long. These moments feel terrible in the moment, like you have dropped a heavy glass in a silent room. The good news is that these awkward bombs do not have to explode your conversation or your confidence. With a few simple tools, you can diffuse these moments with grace and even humor. The way you handle awkward moments often matters more than the awkward moment itself. Let us learn how to turn potential disasters into opportunities to show your genuine human side. Let us start with the most common awkward bomb, which is forgetting someone's name after you should already know it. This happens to everyone, and pretending it did not happen usually makes the situation more uncomfortable. The best approach is to address it directly and honestly, without making a huge drama about the situation. You can smile warmly and say something like, "I am so sorry. Your name has completely escaped my mind. Can you remind me?" This honesty shows that you value getting their name right more than you value appearing perfect. Most people will appreciate your honesty and will not judge you for forgetting something so minor. After they tell you their name, repeat it back to them to help it stick in your memory. You can even say their name a few times during the conversation to anchor it more firmly in your mind. This approach turns an awkward moment into a moment of genuine human connection and honesty. Now let us talk about what to do when you accidentally say something that comes out wrong or offensive. Your first instinct might be to freeze, to panic, or to try to pretend you did not say what you said. The stronger approach is to acknowledge the mistake immediately and simply, without over-explaining or making excuses. A simple, "I am sorry that came out wrong, let me try that again," shows emotional intelligence and self-awareness. This brief acknowledgement allows the conversation to reset without lingering tension or confusion between you. The other person will likely appreciate your honesty and will be happy to move past the moment with you. The key is not to dwell on the mistake or to punish yourself for being imperfect. Every human being says things that come out wrong sometimes, and you are no exception to this rule. Your willingness to acknowledge and move on shows far more character than never making a mistake at all. Let us explore the awkward bomb of interrupting someone or talking over them during a conversation. Interrupting happens to everyone, especially when you are excited about a topic or worried about forgetting your thought. The moment you realize you have interrupted, stop speaking immediately and apologize briefly and sincerely. You can say something like, "I am so sorry, please continue what you were saying. I interrupted you." Then give your full attention back to them, showing that their words are more important than your thought. This response shows respect and self-awareness, which actually builds trust rather than damaging it. If you were worried about forgetting your thought, you can jot it down or simply trust that it will come back if it matters. Most people will appreciate your respect for their speaking turn and will feel more connected to you. Your gracious recovery from interrupting often leaves a better impression than never having interrupted at all. One of the most useful skills in handling awkward moments is learning to laugh at yourself with genuine warmth. When you say something silly or make a small mistake, a light-hearted laugh can dissolve tension immediately. This laughter shows that you do not take yourself too seriously, which is a deeply attractive quality in any person. It gives the other person permission to relax and to see you as human rather than as someone performing perfection. The key is to laugh with yourself, not to laugh in a way that seems defensive or self-critical. You are simply acknowledging that you are human, that humans do silly things, and that it is all okay. This lighthearted approach turns a potentially awkward moment into a shared moment of humor between you. People remember how you made them feel, and laughter creates positive feelings that strengthen connection. Let us end this chapter with a powerful mindset shift that will change how you experience awkward moments forever. Instead of seeing awkward moments as failures, begin to see them as opportunities to show your real self. A perfectly smooth conversation can feel rehearsed or impersonal, like both people are performing a role. An awkward moment handled well reveals your character, your humility, and your genuine human warmth. These moments are where real connection is forged, because they show how you behave when things are not perfect. The people who handle awkward moments with grace are the people we trust and feel safe with over time. So when an awkward bomb lands at your feet, take a breath and remember that you have the tools to handle it. You are not a robot designed to perform perfectly. You are a human being designed to connect authentically. An authentic connection, with all its messiness, is far more beautiful than any perfectly scripted interaction. Chapter 9, The Storyteller's Spark. Every human being has a collection of stories inside them, waiting for the right moment to be told. You might believe that your life is not interesting enough to hold anyone's attention for very long. This belief is false, and it is one of the biggest lies that keeps people from connecting deeply with others. You do not need to have climbed a mountain or met a celebrity to have a story worth telling. Your ordinary moments contain the same elements as the greatest stories ever told. There is struggle, there is humor, there is surprise, and there is meaning hidden in your daily experiences. This chapter will teach you how to find those story elements and share them in a way that captivates others. You will learn to become a storyteller, not by inventing adventures, but by learning to see the adventure in your own life. Let us begin by understanding what makes a story feel like a story rather than just a report of events. A report tells someone what happened in the order it happened, like reading a list of facts. A story takes those facts and adds emotion, detail, and a sense of why this moment mattered. A story has a beginning that sets the scene, a middle where something happens, and an end that leaves the listener with a feeling. When you share a story, you invite the other person to imagine themselves in your shoes for a moment. You give them access to your inner world, your feelings, and your unique way of seeing things. This sharing creates a bridge of understanding that facts alone could never build between two people. The good news is that you already know how to tell stories. You have just forgotten that your life is full of them. Let us wake up that storyteller inside you and give them permission to speak. Now let us talk about how to find the stories hiding in your ordinary days and ordinary experiences. Think about the last time something unexpected happened, even something small like a traffic detour. Think about the last time you felt a strong emotion, whether it was frustration, joy, embarrassment, or surprise. Think about the last time you learned something, even a small lesson about how something works or how people behave. Think about the last time you saw something funny, something beautiful, or something that made you stop and think. Each of these moments contains the seeds of a story that someone else would enjoy hearing. The key is to remember that your perspective is unique, and what seems ordinary to you might be fascinating to someone else. You are the only person who experienced that moment exactly as you did, which makes your story valuable. Trust that your experiences are worth sharing, because they absolutely are. Let us explore the simple structure you can use to tell any story in a way that keeps people engaged. Start by setting the scene briefly, giving just enough detail to help your listener picture where you were. You might mention the time of day, the place, and who else was there with you in that moment. Then introduce the moment of tension, the thing that happened that changed the situation in some way. This could be a problem that appeared, a surprise that arrived, or a choice that you had to make. Then share how you responded, what you did, and how things unfolded after that moment of tension. Finally, end with what you felt, what you learned, or why this small moment stayed with you. This simple structure turns a simple event into a story that carries your listener along with you. You do not need fancy words or dramatic events. You just need to follow this natural arc. One common fear people have about storytelling is that they will talk too long and bore the other person. This fear is valid, and the solution is to pay attention to your listener's reactions as you tell your story. Notice if they are leaning in, making eye contact, and asking questions that show engagement. Notice if they seem distracted, look away, or start checking their phone while you are speaking. If you sense their attention waning, you can simply wrap up your story more quickly and move on. A good story does not need to be long to be powerful. Sometimes the shortest stories are the most memorable. The goal is not to perform, but to share a piece of yourself in a way that invites connection. Let your listener guide you, and trust that you will find the right length for each moment. Your willingness to share, not your storytelling perfection, is what will ultimately create connection. Let us end this chapter with a practice that will awaken the storyteller inside you over the coming weeks. Each evening, take one moment from your day and think about how you would tell it as a story. Consider the scene, the moment of tension, your response, and the feeling that lingered afterward. The next day, look for an opportunity to share that story with someone in a natural way. You can share it with a coworker during a break, with a friend over a call, or with family at dinner. Pay attention to how people respond when you share your story with this simple structure in mind. Notice how they lean in, how they ask questions, and how they often share a story of their own in return. This exchange of stories is the heartbeat of human connection, the way we have bonded for thousands of years. You are part of this ancient tradition, and your stories are needed in the world, so go ahead and share them. Chapter 10: The Debaters and the Dreamers. Throughout your life, you will encounter people whose personalities seem completely different from your own. Some people love to debate, to argue points, and to analyze every idea from every possible angle. Other people live in the clouds, dreaming big dreams and following their inspiration wherever it leads them. You will also meet people who are deeply practical, focused only on what is useful and what works right now. And you will meet people who feel everything deeply, whose emotions guide them through every decision they make. Each of these personality types speaks a different language, and conversations can become confusing quickly. This chapter will teach you how to speak each of these languages with ease and confidence. You will learn to connect with anyone, no matter how different their natural style is from your own. Let us begin by understanding the debater, the person who seems to question everything you say in conversation. This person is not trying to be difficult or to prove that you are wrong in most cases. They are simply wired to think critically, to test ideas, and to explore topics from every possible angle. When you share an idea with a debater, they will likely push back or offer a counterpoint to what you have said. This is their way of engaging with you, of showing that they value the conversation enough to examine it closely. The worst thing you can do with a debater is take their questioning personally or become defensive. Instead, treat their questions as an invitation to explore the topic more deeply together. You can respond with curiosity, saying something like, "That is an interesting way to look at it. Tell me more about your perspective." This approach turns potential conflict into collaboration and shows that you respect their thinking style. Now let us talk about how to connect with the dreamer, the person who lives in the world of ideas and possibilities. Dreamers are energized by talking about what could be, by imagining new futures, and by exploring creative ideas. They often become bored or disengaged when conversations focus too much on practical details or past events. When you talk with a dreamer, ask them about their visions, their hopes, and the things that excite them most. Ask them questions that begin with "what if," and watch their eyes light up with energy and enthusiasm. Avoid shutting down their ideas with practical concerns or reasons why their dreams might not work. Let them explore their visions fully, and they will feel deeply seen and appreciated by you. Dreamers bring imagination and possibility into the world, and they need people who can receive those gifts graciously. You can be that person for the dreamers in your life, and they will cherish your conversations. Let us explore the practical person, whose focus is always on what is real, what works, and what is useful right now. This person values efficiency, clarity, and results, and they can become impatient with abstract ideas. When you talk with a practical person, get to the point quickly and focus on concrete details they can understand. They will appreciate it when you share specific examples, clear timelines, and actionable ideas rather than theories. They may seem blunt or impatient at times, but this is simply their preference for directness over fluff. Do not take their directness personally. Recognize it as their way of honoring your time and energy. Ask them about their current projects, their goals, and the systems they use to get things done. Practical people are the builders and doers of the world, and connecting with them requires a straightforward approach. Now let us discuss the feeler, the person who experiences the world primarily through emotions and relationships. Feelers care deeply about how people feel, about harmony, and about the emotional impact of every situation. When you talk with a feeler, they will appreciate it when you ask about their feelings and share your own in return. They are often hurt by bluntness or criticism, so choose your words with care and kindness when speaking with them. Feelers thrive in conversations where they feel safe to express their emotions without being judged or dismissed. Ask them how they felt about experiences, what matters most to them, and who they care about in their lives. They will open up to you like a flower opening to the sun when they sense genuine emotional safety. Feelers bring empathy and heart into the world, and they need people who can meet them in that emotional space. Let us end this chapter with the understanding that you contain elements of all these personality types within yourself. There are moments when you love to debate, moments when you dream big, and moments when you want practicality. There are moments when your feelings guide you and moments when your logic takes over completely. This means you already have the ability to connect with each type because you understand their language on some level. Your task is simply to notice which language the other person is speaking and to meet them there. You do not need to change who you are. You simply need to flex your communication style to match theirs. This flexibility is not being fake. It is being skilled, like a musician who can play many different styles. The more you practice this flexibility, the more people will feel understood by you, and the deeper your connections will become. Chapter 11. The Exit Strategy. Starting a conversation well is important, but ending a conversation well is equally crucial for lasting connection. Most people end conversations awkwardly, with mumbled goodbyes or abrupt departures that leave a strange feeling. You have likely experienced this yourself, walking away from a conversation feeling like something was left unfinished. The good news is that you can learn to end conversations in a way that leaves both people feeling respected. A strong exit strategy allows you to leave any conversation with grace, confidence, and warmth. It also prevents you from getting trapped in conversations that have gone on longer than you wanted. This chapter will give you several simple, effective ways to exit conversations smoothly. You will never have to endure another awkward goodbye or feel trapped in a conversation ever again. Let us begin with the most important principle of exiting a conversation. Give the other person a brief warning. Do not simply disappear or say goodbye without any indication that you need to leave soon. A simple statement like, "I have really enjoyed talking with you, but I need to head out in a few minutes," works perfectly. This warning allows the other person to prepare for the ending and to wrap up any thoughts they were sharing. It shows respect for their time and their presence, letting them know that you value the conversation. Without this warning, the goodbye can feel abrupt and even a little shocking to the other person. With it, the ending feels natural and planned, leaving both people feeling satisfied. This small courtesy makes a massive difference in how your exit is perceived and remembered. Now let us talk about how to express appreciation genuinely when you are ready to end a conversation. Before you say goodbye, take a moment to share something specific that you appreciated about the interaction. You might say something like, "I loved hearing about your trip. It sounds like an amazing experience." Or you might say, "I really appreciate your perspective on this. You gave me a lot to think about." This specific appreciation shows that you were present during the conversation and that you valued it. It leaves the other person feeling seen and appreciated rather than simply abandoned. This is the gift you give them as you leave, a final positive moment that colors their memory of you. A genuine appreciation takes only a few seconds to offer, but its impact lasts much longer than that. Make this a habit, and people will always feel good after talking with you, even when you have to leave. Let us explore different exit phrases you can use depending on the situation and your relationship with the person. For casual conversations, you can say, "It was great chatting with you. I will let you get back to your evening." For networking events, you can say, "I have really enjoyed meeting you. I hope our paths cross again soon." For longer conversations where you have connected deeply, you can say, "This conversation has been wonderful. I am so glad we had this time together." For situations where you need to leave quickly, you can say, I hate to cut this short, but I have to run. Let us pick this up another time. Each of these phrases accomplishes the same goal, ending the conversation with warmth and clarity. The specific words matter less than the genuine warmth and appreciation behind them. Choose the phrase that feels most natural to you and deliver it with a genuine smile. One situation that many people struggle with is leaving a conversation when the other person does not seem ready to end. Some people are natural talkers who will keep going indefinitely unless you signal that you need to leave. In these situations, you may need to be more direct while still maintaining warmth and kindness. You can say something like, "I have really loved talking with you, but I am going to have to say goodbye for now." If they continue talking, you can gently interrupt and repeat that you need to go, perhaps taking a step backward physically. Physical cues like stepping back or turning your body slightly can reinforce your verbal message. Remember that it is not rude to end a conversation when you need to do so. Your time and energy are valuable, and you have the right to manage them with kindness. The key is to be clear, warm, and firm, leaving no confusion about your intention to leave. Let us end this chapter with the understanding that a good exit actually strengthens relationships over time. When you leave a conversation feeling good, you are more likely to seek that person out again in the future. When the other person feels good about your exit, they will be happy to see you when you meet again. A bad exit can leave a lingering awkwardness that makes future interactions feel strange or uncomfortable. A good exit creates positive momentum that carries into your next conversation with that person. Think of each exit as setting the stage for the next time you will see this person. You want that stage to feel warm, positive, and filled with anticipation for the next connection. So take your exits seriously, practice them until they feel natural, and watch how your relationships improve. You are not just ending a conversation, you are building the foundation for the next one. Chapter 12: The Digital Handshake. In today's world, many of your most important conversations happen through screens rather than face-to-face. Texts, emails, and phone calls have become the primary way we connect with friends, family, and colleagues. These digital conversations come with their own challenges, including the loss of tone, body language, and facial expression. A message you intend as friendly can easily be read as cold or rude without those nonverbal cues. This chapter will teach you how to bring warmth and clarity to your digital conversations. You will learn to translate the skills you have developed for in-person conversations into the digital world. Your texts and emails will become as warm and connecting as your face-to-face interactions. Let us bridge the gap between the digital world and the human heart. Let us begin with the most important principle of digital communication. Assume the best intention in every message you receive. Without tone of voice and facial expression, it is easy to read negativity into neutral messages from others. You might interpret a short response as anger when the person was simply typing quickly. You might read a lack of emojis as coldness when the person was just being efficient with their words. Before you react to a message that feels negative, pause and consider that you might be misreading the tone. Give the other person the benefit of the doubt and respond with the warmth you would want to receive. If something truly bothers you, address it with curiosity rather than accusation in your response. You can say something like, "I might be misreading this, but your message felt a bit short. Is everything okay?" This approach keeps connections strong even when digital communication creates confusion. Now let us talk about how to bring warmth into your own texts and messages so they feel more human. Use the person's name at the beginning or end of your message to create a sense of personal connection. Add a genuine compliment or a positive observation about something they shared recently. Use emojis thoughtfully to convey tone, but avoid overusing them to the point of feeling childish. Write in full sentences when appropriate, showing that you value the conversation enough to put in effort. Respond in a reasonable time frame, letting people know that you prioritize your connection with them. When you need to cancel or change plans, offer a brief explanation and suggest a new time to show you care. These small choices add up to a digital presence that feels warm, reliable, and genuinely caring. Your messages will stand out in a world full of rushed, impersonal digital communication. Let us explore the art of the voice call, which many people have abandoned in favor of text-based communication. Voice calls carry tone of voice, laughter, and the subtle emotions that text completely loses in translation. A 5-minute voice call can accomplish what 30 minutes of texting cannot in terms of building connection. If you have been texting someone for a while, consider calling them to hear their voice and deepen the bond. When you call, start by asking if it is a good time, showing respect for their schedule and availability. Listen actively, just as you would in an in-person conversation, letting them speak without interruption. Use your voice to convey warmth, enthusiasm, and genuine interest in what they are sharing with you. The voice call is a bridge between text and in-person connection, and it is more powerful than many people realize. Reclaim this tool and watch your digital relationships deepen significantly. One common challenge in digital communication is knowing how to end a conversation gracefully without being abrupt. In text conversations can sometimes drag on endlessly without a clear ending point. You can signal the end by using a closing phrase like, "Well, I will let you get back to your day," or "talk soon." You can also end with a specific plan for the next time you will connect, creating a sense of continuity. For email conversations, a clear subject line and a polite closing line help the recipient know how to respond. For voice calls, use the same exit strategies you learned for in-person conversations with a brief warning. The key is to be clear and warm, leaving no confusion about whether the conversation has ended. Digital conversations that end clearly leave both people feeling satisfied rather than hanging in uncertainty. Practice clear endings, and your digital communication will feel as smooth as your in-person interactions. Let us end this chapter with the understanding that digital communication is here to stay, and you can master it. The same principles that make you a great in-person conversationalist apply to your digital life. Be present, be curious, be warm, and show genuine interest in the other person. The medium may be different, but the human heart behind the screen is the same as the one in front of you. Your goal is to make the other person feel valued, heard, and respected, whether you are texting or speaking face-to-face. When you bring your full self to digital conversations, they become opportunities for connection rather than obstacles. The skills you have built throughout this book apply everywhere, in every medium, in every moment. You are becoming a master of conversation in all its forms, and the digital world is simply another place for you to shine. Chapter 13. When you're the quiet one. If you have always been the quiet person in groups, you may feel that conversation is a game designed for others. You might believe that your natural silence is a weakness that holds you back from connecting with people. This chapter will show you that your quiet nature is actually a superpower when you learn to use it. The world needs listeners, observers, and people who speak only when they have something meaningful to say. Your silence gives you advantages that loud, fast talkers will never have in their conversations. People feel safe with you because you do not dominate the space or demand attention. Your words carry more weight because you do not waste them on empty chatter. Let us unlock the quiet person's guide to mastering conversation without becoming someone you are not. Let us begin by reframing how you think about your quietness in social situations. Your quietness is not a lack of something. It is a presence that brings calm and depth to any interaction. While others rush to fill silence with words, you allow space for thoughts to breathe and feelings to emerge. This quality makes people feel unusually comfortable with you because they never feel rushed or crowded. You notice details that others miss because you are watching and listening rather than performing. You think before you speak, which means your words are often more thoughtful and meaningful than average. These are not weaknesses to overcome. These are strengths that most people wish they had more of. Your job is not to become a loud talker but to use your quiet strengths intentionally. The world has plenty of loud voices. What it needs is more people who listen like you do. Now let us talk about how to enter conversations without feeling like you need to perform or dominate. You do not need to have a big opening line or a clever story to join a group conversation. Simply stand or sit at the edge of the group, make eye contact, and offer your presence with a warm expression. When you have something to add, wait for a natural pause and speak briefly and clearly. Your words will carry extra weight because you speak less often, so people will naturally pay attention when you speak. You can also ask questions that invite others to share more, using your listening skills to deepen the conversation. This approach allows you to participate fully without ever feeling like you are forcing yourself to be someone else. You are contributing in your own quiet way, and that contribution is just as valuable as any loud voice in the room. Let us explore the power of one-on-one conversations for quiet people who may struggle in groups. In a one-on-one setting, your quiet nature becomes a gift rather than something you need to overcome. You can listen deeply, ask thoughtful questions, and create a safe space for the other person to open up. People often feel more comfortable sharing vulnerable things with quiet people because they feel truly heard. You can build deep, meaningful connections one person at a time, which is often more satisfying than group popularity. Seek out one-on-one conversations at social events by finding someone standing alone or by pulling someone aside. These conversations play to your strengths and allow you to shine in your natural way. Over time, you will build a reputation as someone who is easy to talk to, someone who truly listens. This reputation is far more valuable than being known as the loudest person in the room. One important skill for quiet people is learning to protect your energy during social situations. Social interaction drains your energy more quickly than it does for extroverted people, and that is completely normal. You can plan ahead by giving yourself quiet time before events to build up your social energy reserves. During events, take breaks by stepping outside, visiting the restroom, or finding a quiet corner to recharge. You do not need to stay for the entire event to have a successful social experience. Leaving early while you still feel good is better than staying until you feel exhausted and depleted. Honor your energy limits without apology, because taking care of yourself is not selfish. Your quiet nature is not a flaw to fix. It is a natural part of who you are that deserves respect. Let us end this chapter with a celebration of what you bring to the world as a quiet person. You bring calm to chaotic spaces, depth to shallow conversations, and presence to distracted moments. You notice the people who are often overlooked because you understand what it feels like to be quiet. You create safety for others to share their hearts because you do not rush to judge or interrupt. Your words matter because you choose them carefully, and people remember what you say. The world needs more quiet people who listen well and speak with intention and care. You do not need to become a different person to master conversation. You need to become more fully yourself. Your quiet nature is not a barrier to connection. It is the very thing that makes your connection so special. Go forward with confidence, knowing that your voice, when you choose to use it, is exactly what the world needs to hear. Chapter 14. When you're the too much one. If you have always been the talkative person, you may have received messages that you are too much for others. You might have been told to calm down, to talk less, or to give other people space to speak. These messages may have left you feeling ashamed of your natural energy and enthusiasm for conversation. This chapter will show you that your talkative nature is a gift that simply needs to be channeled skillfully. Your energy brings life to gatherings, your stories entertain, and your openness invites others to open up. The goal is not to silence your voice, but to learn to use it in a way that includes others. You can become a person whose enthusiasm makes others feel welcomed rather than overwhelmed. Let us learn how to turn your natural gift into a tool for connection rather than a source of discomfort. Let us begin by understanding why your talkative nature is a valuable gift to the world around you. You are the person who fills awkward silences, who brings energy to tired rooms, who starts conversations others were afraid to start. Your willingness to share yourself openly gives other people permission to be open in return. Your stories and jokes create shared laughter that bonds groups together in joyful moments. Your enthusiasm is contagious, lifting the energy of everyone around you when you enter a space. These are not flaws to be corrected. These are strengths that many quiet people wish they possessed. The challenge is not to become less of who you are, but to become more skilled at sharing space. Your voice is a gift, and learning to use it wisely makes that gift even more powerful. Now let us talk about the most important skill for talkative people to develop: asking questions and listening to answers. When you are naturally full of words, it is easy to dominate conversations without even realizing you are doing it. You can shift this pattern by making it your goal to ask at least 2 questions before sharing a story of your own. When you ask a question, commit to listening to the entire answer without interrupting or jumping in. Notice when your excitement makes you want to talk over someone, and practice holding that excitement inside for a moment. Your questions will show others that you value their voice as much as your own, balancing the conversation beautifully. This practice does not diminish your natural energy. It simply directs that energy toward including others. People will still experience your warmth and enthusiasm, but they will also feel heard and valued by you. This combination is rare and deeply attractive to everyone you meet. Let us explore the art of leaving space for others in group conversations where you naturally shine. In groups, it is easy for talkative people to become the center of attention without meaning to dominate. You can practice the skill of turning the spotlight toward others who have not spoken yet. When you notice someone has been quiet, you can say something like, "I would love to hear what you think about this." You can also ask follow-up questions that build on what quieter people have shared, showing that you value their contribution. When you finish a story, pause and look around the group to invite others to respond or share their own. These small actions transform you from a person who takes up space to a person who creates space. You become the person who makes everyone feel included, which is a leadership quality that people deeply respect. Your energy remains, but now it serves the whole group rather than just your own need to express. One common struggle for talkative people is the fear that if they stop talking, the conversation will die. This fear is understandable, but it is usually not true when you are with others who want to connect. When you create space, you give others the chance to step forward and share themselves with the group. You might discover that others have amazing stories and perspectives that you never heard before. The conversation becomes richer, more diverse, and more interesting for everyone involved. You also give yourself the gift of rest, allowing you to enjoy the conversation without carrying the entire load. Trust that the silence you create will be filled by others when you give them the chance to speak. Your role shifts from being the performer to being the host, creating an environment where everyone can shine. Let us end this chapter with a celebration of what you bring to the world as a talkative person. You bring warmth, energy, and the courage to start conversations that others are too shy to begin. You make people feel welcomed and included because your openness signals safety to those around you. Your stories and humor create moments of joy that people carry with them long after the conversation ends. Your enthusiasm for life reminds others to find joy in their own experiences and to share them more freely. The world needs your voice, your energy, and your willingness to be seen and heard. The goal is not to become quiet. The goal is to become a master of sharing the space you occupy. You are learning to use your gift in a way that uplifts everyone around you rather than overwhelming them. Go forward with confidence, knowing that your voice, when balanced with listening, is one of the greatest gifts you can offer the world. Chapter 15: The Conversation That Changes Everything. Throughout this book, you have learned skills, tools, and mindsets for mastering any conversation. Now it is time to talk about the conversations that matter most, the ones that can change everything. These are the difficult talks you have been avoiding, the important questions you have been afraid to ask. These are the conversations where you share your truth, express your needs, or ask for what you really want. These conversations feel terrifying because the stakes are high and the outcome is uncertain. But these are also the conversations that define our lives, our relationships, and our sense of self. Avoiding them keeps us small, while facing them allows us to grow beyond our limits. This chapter will prepare you to walk into these conversations with courage, clarity, and compassion. Let us begin by understanding why these important conversations feel so difficult and scary to most people. When something matters deeply to us, the possibility of rejection or misunderstanding feels devastating. Our minds create catastrophic scenarios where the conversation goes terribly and we lose something precious. We imagine the other person reacting with anger, disappointment, or rejection that we cannot bear to face. These fears are often worse than the reality of what actually happens when we speak our truth. The anticipation of the conversation is usually more painful than the conversation itself. The longer we avoid the conversation, the larger it grows in our minds, becoming a monster. The truth is that these conversations are difficult, but they are also the gateway to everything we want. Avoiding them is choosing the pain of staying stuck over the temporary discomfort of moving forward. Now let us talk about how to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally before entering a difficult conversation. Begin by getting clear on what you truly want from the conversation before you say a single word. Are you seeking understanding, a change in behavior, forgiveness, or simply to be heard? Get clear on your own intentions and make sure they are rooted in care rather than blame or punishment. Write down your thoughts if it helps, organizing them so you can express yourself clearly when the time comes. Choose a time and place where both people can speak freely without interruptions or time pressure. Remind yourself that your needs and feelings matter, and that asking for what you need is not selfish. You are worthy of honest conversations, and you deserve to have your voice heard in your important relationships. Preparation gives you confidence, and confidence gives you the strength to speak your truth. Let us explore how to structure the conversation itself so that it remains productive and caring throughout. Begin by stating your positive intention, letting the other person know why you wanted to have this conversation. You might say, "I am bringing this up because our relationship matters to me, and I want us to understand each other better." Then describe the situation or behavior without blame, using "I" statements rather than "you" accusations. You can say, "I felt hurt when this happened," rather than "you always do this and it is wrong." Then state what you need or what you are hoping will change, being as specific and clear as possible. Finally, invite the other person to share their perspective and commit to listening without getting defensive. This structure keeps the conversation focused on understanding and solutions rather than blame and conflict. You are creating a container where difficult truths can be shared without destroying the relationship. One of the most powerful tools in difficult conversations is the willingness to listen to the other person's truth. After you have shared your piece, your job becomes to listen with the same openness you hope to receive. The other person may have a completely different perspective, and their feelings about the situation are valid too. You do not have to agree with their perspective to respect that it is their genuine experience. Listening deeply, without planning your rebuttal, shows that you value the relationship more than being right. You might discover things you did not know, misunderstandings you did not anticipate, or pain you did not realize you caused. This mutual sharing of truth, when handled with care, can heal wounds that have been festering for years. Your willingness to listen may be the very thing that transforms a difficult conversation into a breakthrough moment. Let us end this chapter and this book with a final truth about the conversations that change everything. The conversations you are most afraid to have are often the ones that hold the keys to your freedom. The apology you are afraid to give may be the one that heals a broken relationship you thought was lost. The truth you are afraid to speak may be the one that finally sets you free from carrying a heavy secret. The question you are afraid to ask may open a door to an opportunity you have been dreaming about. These conversations require courage, but courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting in the presence of fear. You have built the skills throughout this book to handle any conversation with grace and confidence. You have everything you need inside you to walk into these conversations and come out stronger. The conversation that changes everything is waiting for you, and you are ready to have it. Conclusion. You have traveled through 15 chapters, learning skills that will transform how you connect with everyone you meet. You have learned that conversation is not about being perfect, but about being present, curious, and genuinely human. You have discovered that your quiet nature or your talkative nature is not a weakness, but a gift to be used wisely. You have gained tools for starting conversations, deepening connections, handling awkward moments, and ending interactions with grace. You have learned to listen like a treasure hunter, to notice the unseen, and to make others feel truly valued. You have prepared yourself for the difficult conversations that can change your life and your relationships forever. This journey has been about more than just talking. It has been about becoming the kind of person others feel safe with. You are that person now, and the world is ready to meet you. Go forward with confidence, knowing that every person you meet is carrying a universe inside them waiting to be explored. Your voice matters, your presence matters, and your willingness to connect matters more than you will ever know. There will be moments when you forget these skills, moments when you stumble, and conversations that do not go as planned. When those moments come, be gentle with yourself, remember what you have learned, and simply begin again. Mastery is not about perfection. It is about returning to your practice again and again with patience and kindness. You have everything you need inside you to build the connections you have always wanted. The handshake that starts a universe begins with you, and you are more than ready to offer it. Now go out, be curious, be brave, and master the art of simply being human together.